What if everything you thought you knew about ancient history was wrong? What if entire civilizations, empires of immense wealth and sophistication, were deliberately erased from the history books? Get ready, because you're about to question everything. Picture this: a kingdom, flourishing for centuries, its people skilled artisans, its rulers wealthy beyond measure, then vanished. Almost without a trace. This is Mapungubwe. Situated at the confluence of the Shoshi and Limpopo rivers where modern-day Botswana, Zimbabwe, and South Africa meet, Mapungubwe thrived from 950 AD to 1290 AD. That's centuries of sophisticated society, now largely forgotten by time, as some documentaries put it. Why? We are talking about a place that predates Great Zimbabwe, a major power in southern Africa. Mapungubwe was a pioneer, a sophisticated civilization with a clear class system, evidenced by the graves and the gold found there. Think about the implications: organized labor, complex social structures, and long-distance trade networks. They traded gold and ivory with places as far away as China and India. Yet, most people have never even heard of it. Why is that? Let's zoom out. Consider the sheer scope of African history. Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s documentary series spans 200,000 years. 200,000 years. That's an almost unimaginable amount of time, encompassing the very origins of art, writing, and civilization itself. And a huge part of that history is either missing, distorted, or simply ignored. Think about ancient Egypt, often presented as somehow separate from the rest of the continent, despite its clear connections and influence. Or the kingdom of Aksum in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea with its monumental obelisks, complex trade networks and conversion to Christianity in the early 4th century AD under King Izona. Were these just isolated pockets of civilization in a dark continent? The evidence screams otherwise. Where did Homo sapiens originate? The latest scientific consensus points overwhelmingly to Africa. Discoveries in Ethiopia, South Africa, and Morocco place our origins firmly on the continent, dating back 200,000 to 300,000 years ago. Some estimates even push that back to 350,000 to 260,000 years ago. That means humanity itself is African history. Every single one of us traces our ancestry back to this continent. Yet this fundamental truth is often relegated to a footnote. So why is so much of African history buried? Who benefits from this erasure? The uncomfortable truth is that the deliberate obscuring of African achievements served to justify colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade. If Africans were portrayed as having no history, no culture, no civilization, then it was easier to rationalize their subjugation. It was easier to steal their resources, exploit their labor, and deny their humanity. This isn't just about dusty textbooks, it's about power, control, and the deliberate manipulation of historical narratives. The legacy of this erasure continues to this day. How many schools teach in depth about the empires of the Sahel like Ghana, Mali, and Songhai that controlled trans-Saharan trade routes and were centers of learning? How many people know about Queen Zinga of Angola, who resisted Portuguese colonization for decades in the 17th century? These stories, these people, deserve to be remembered, not buried. Reclaiming African history is not just an academic exercise, it's an act of justice. It's about recognizing the contributions of an entire continent to the story of humanity. It's about challenging the narratives that have been used to justify oppression and inequality for centuries. So, the next time you hear someone say that Africa has no history, remember Mapungubwe, remember the origins of Homo sapiens, and remember that the truth is far more complex, far richer, and far more important than you might think. It's time to rewrite the narrative. It's time to listen to the voices that have been silenced for too long. It's time to acknowledge the true depth and breadth of African history, not just as a matter of historical accuracy, but as a matter of human dignity. Think about what you were taught, and then ask yourself, what wasn't I taught? And why?